Hey everybody, we are here with the Cains today.
Hello.
Welcome guys. I'm so glad we finally got to connect. And I know you just released a video this week. I'm so excited. So tell us about it. What was the most fun in making the video?
God, I think the timeline, even though it was really hectic, that kind of made it fun, because from the time that we had the shoot date to when we did it, there was like 6 days. So it was just, we had the idea, so it was just like trying to find the studio, trying to find the director, trying to find, you know, the props and everything. So
our costumes were really fun. So if people haven't seen it yet, go watch it, just because Logan has a lot of feathers on. I had like dreads. It was a mess to try to get out, but it was cool to get to be someone else sort of for a day.
Very much in character. Yeah, and I think too that was, Madison does a lot of video. We do a lot of things ourselves, but this was one of the first times we were on a very professional shoot where like they went and got us lunch and they brought it in, and so it was very kind of stressful and hectic leading up to it, getting it ready, but then the actual shoot day was just like
well, I know past videos you guys have done a lot of stuff on your own. I mean, you guys really do. So did you write the script for this, or did someone else come up with the treatment? How did you guys decide all that?
I think that we were really lucky to find someone that got the vision, because we were trying to explain it to people, and it was always met with like a what, you know, because we was like, you know, we'll be all alone, like we won't even sing together, and it'll be black and white, and we'll all be wearing this like gothic like buckles and all, and it
very Hunger Games, and people were like,
and they're thinking country and this, how does that?
So it felt really nice just to tell someone like, okay, so we want to be frozen in time, and also you know, for them to take what we're saying and break it down is like, okay, let's get a fog machine and let's do it. So
he nailed it. And I think too, you know, a lot of people already think that we're dating. It's kind of weird, like they don't know that we're siblings. So for this song, we didn't want it to be like from a girl nagging a guy that you're not paying attention to me, or vice versa, but we wanted it to really kind of look inward, and that's where the frozen stuff comes from. Is just like sometimes you become dead inside. You're just sort of numb, floating around and not really paying attention or being in the moment.
Absolutely.
And so I think we were really going through that when it was time to shoot the video. So it was really cool to get to, it was easy to act out how you felt because it was real.
Right. Now you've had the single out for a while. You guys did a little bit of a radio tour with all of that, right?
Yes.
What was some of the stuff that was, you know, memorable from doing all that part that goes along with the same single?
Yeah, I just get so surprised because, you know, we recorded this song a year ago. We had heard it 6 months before that. So when you sit with something so long, you forget if people are even going to like it. You know, you forget how many people haven't heard it, and so I think that's just been the most fun part for people to be, you know, send us emails like, holy knock knock, holy hit. Like, this is going to be great. So cool. It's just affirming.
Yeah, I think also that as far left or right as the video falls from what country is, the song even itself in the production and whatever else, it may not necessarily be. And so it's been a lot of fun, I think, to get a majority of positive response and say like, this is different, but we love that. This is different, but we're ready for that. And so I've enjoyed that part of it a lot.
And just knowing that people like your song in Canada and in the Midwest, and there's radio stations all over the place playing it, and we would have never, I just don't know when we would have ever gone to Canada or any of these places, England, you know, if it hadn't have been for this career. So we're like really blessed, and like every single person that likes the song, somebody heard it in where?
Oh, like this random people are sending messages like, oh, I saw your video on CMT, like, will you send us a picture? And so I'm like, where are you from? Like, I love that kind of stuff. It's like,
getting
if it's someone
to know
I don't
them.
know, I mean,
we wake up because the single came, or like was released to radio a month ago, I guess, and we woke up, or I woke up, they were already awake. They woke me up and said, you have to see this. And it was like Lucy Hale from Pretty Little Liars is posting this, and she has like 12 million Instagram followers, and was like, this is my jam. And we're like, who paid her to say that? How does she know who
How does she know who we are? How did she find it?
It's been like, how did you work that out? I'm like, work that out? Like, I don't know her. I don't know anything. So
and I think that really honesty and that innocence of replying like that, I think that is why your fans then come to you, because it's real and they know that it's not some big production that's coming from a fake source and all of that. So that makes a big difference.
I think that maybe there, if we were being honest, I feel like there probably was a small time where we were like, okay, how do we look like artists? Like, how do we look, and then it just doesn't, people can see through that, and we can see through it in other people. You know, if you feel like someone's not, they're trying to appear cooler than they are.
Yeah.
So
we're very much trying to let people into how dorky we really are, and hope that it's endearing. Because you can only, you know what I mean? You can only go to Kroger in a bow tie so many times before people are like, this isn't how you really are.
Well, speaking of bow ties and personal, we have a wedding coming up. Talk a little bit about that.
There was, I feel like every night Jared and I look at each other like, we have to get a grip. Jared. And just because there was one time where we were in Canada, we were trying to get ready to go to New York, we were trying to do all this stuff, and it's like, I don't want to miss this time and because my life, especially if it stays somewhat how it is now, it's always going to be busy. And even if I didn't have a music career, something else would take its place. So I'm really trying to stop and just take a couple weeks.
There was talk about the Jimmy Fallon show and that we could possibly play on there, but she was telling Jared like we would have to like cut our honeymoon short, and his face was just like he's been the most supportive of us, but he was like, I don't get my money back. So it's just like I just feel like Jared is like a part of the band too.
Well, yeah.
And he has done so many road trips and sold the merch and
Jared
stuff I never
asked
him to do. So I feel like that is one balance I'm having to strike, is like, I feel like that is different too, because I feel like most girls during their wedding time they're like bridezillas, because they're just so obsessed, and it's almost like, oh, I have a lot of good things going on.
That's something that we try to bear in mind, whether it's our personal relationships or family or whatever. It's just like, I don't want our lives to become, we're the Cains, so you got to fit into what we're doing, or we're these big personalities, so you just have to come along. And so, I don't know, Jared's been my best friend since we were in middle school, and so now he's married my sister, and it's just a gift for me, and I don't want to take this time and say, like, my music career is more important than this moment in your life. So I'm excited. We're all in the wedding. We'll all be. It's going to be huge.
Because my dad is doing the ceremony. Taylor and Logan are singing during the ceremony. Surprise! Y'all get
Hey, did I tell you?
It's not done.
I know.
That would be so lame.
We walk down the aisle wearing one of those Britney Spears mics, like, yes.
Turn it into a show.
So I think it's going to be great, and I feel like it's just going to be really fun to have all of our friends come together in Nashville, and then
it will be fun. Well, you guys have always been kind of out of the box anyway, the way that you've approached things and done things, and being independent as artists and individuals. I mean, that's important. But when you think of like your music career and things that you need to come up with to get new fans, to find ways to get the music out there, how do you guys brainstorm? Do you actually, do you just sit down, or do things just come to your mind and you're like, oh, I've got it? What's your strategy?
Well, in the shower, I had an awesome idea about us putting back on our music video outfits and just doing everyday life and just see.
Like
YouTubing it and just putting it out there.
I think YouTube's going to be a big part of what we're doing this year. That's a big part of our goals. And
we met with the producer, and he was like, let me get this straight. You do videos, and y'all can sing like this live. Why are you not putting up? There's so many things that we're underutilizing. So it just takes time. Like, we had to wake up really early this morning and just say, like, okay, we're doing a cover video. So
do you do the Periscope thing too? Have you gotten to do that?
We have Periscope, and I like to do that. We did it when we were in England, which was a fun thing, because we have people here that there's no way they could be there, but it was like they were at the show. And I think that social media plays. We try to let it play as big a part, but also we try to be very present. So that's a hard thing. But all of our accounts do come directly to us, and so I think people have an inordinate amount of access to us if they want it.
Absolutely.
I think it's hard. Like, how do these people, artists that are that have millions of fans, how do they find the balance where they're not living on their phone. Because you want to be present when you're just living your life, you know, and running into people. I just feel like that's already a challenge, and we
So
only
hard.
have like
And then you
11,000
don't want
likes.
to. I mean, you need help so you can hire people, but you don't want to lose the personal connection.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So
So we're learning. I feel like we
Right.
don't know everything, but hey, YouTube, we're just gonna try to make it relevant in our life
And
again.
we've just been approached by like some of our first round of some sponsors, or like we'll send you some stuff, and so that's another thing is you don't want it to just be like having a nice day in my something hat with my,
Right.
you know, like it's
Right.
just everything
Right.
becomes an advertisement, and people they
Yeah.
can't talk to you because you're not in person anymore. So
Yep.
that's been a
That's what we
So-
love about you guys is you
Balance.
do. You keep it real. You keep it underneath that line, you know, and I think that's important to always focus on where's the bar. You know, you need to write it to a certain extent
But-
because that's the business.
Right.
But you need to stay under it if you want to stay real to your fans and be able to get that.
Social media is how we got our start, honestly, because we always sang together, but then we had a YouTube competition, and that even just got us our first Facebook page. We didn't have even a name, you know. That's kind of what got us started. So it's just been really awesome to see how the first group of fans have stuck in there
Oh no!
all
I mean,
the way to now.
I remember
so.
when we promised, like, we'll do a cover video if we get to 1,000 likes, or you scroll back
Right.
2 years and it's like we just got 100.
It was such a
And
big-
so-
Yeah.
People are just going out of their way to help us, which is, you know what I mean? I think to make that jump and to start to grow into the numbers that you couldn't get by yourself, it's just people sharing and saying, we like this enough to tell somebody about it. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
been everything for us.
So this is a whole lot more about the people than us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
Well,
really
never.
is.
It's honestly what an artist can do is like 5% them, and then 95% the
Right.
team
Well,
and
and
the fans.
I mean, I feel like we've had this huge awareness and understanding that, like, okay, so Lucy Hale did that for us, and there was this big thing, but it's like every person that follows us is Lucy Hale to us. Because even if that person has 10 followers and they
Right.
say something about us, then now those, you know what I mean? And so it's like, if anybody with any amount of following or clout or notoriety, or if any person tells someone else about us, that's a huge gift
Yeah.
to us, you know? So.
We're trying to look for ways to be like that to other people.
Right.
Just we've been kids back in our hometown. Like if they're interested in music at all, we're like, okay, open for us, or
Right,
just
yeah.
play a few songs,
Right.
just because
Anything we can
it's
do.
so it means so much more, and we have no idea what that might do for someone else. Because we
Absolutely.
saw what it did for us.
Put yourself in their shoes and say, if I was looking at my favorite fan of my group, what would
Right.
I want to do? What would make me feel special? That's a good way to look at things. That's very good.
Yeah.
Well, I know we've got CMA Fest around the corner. Do you guys have any plans for stuff with CMA Fest?
we will see. I know that our big next thing is that we're going to get back in the studio and we're going to make some more new music, and we've been writing a lot. And then our shows, our agent, we kind of stay out of town, so we're working backwards. We're going to be in town more. But as far as CMA Fest goes, I think that's still, you know, a discussion that we haven't had yet. But
Right.
we had a blast last year. I
Oh
mean, it
my
was
gosh.
an
That's
unreal thing, and
I think that was the coolest part. I mean, at the time I had bright pink hair, so that could have been why we were looking at us.
downstairs.
But the truth is we were in some of the same booths with like Chris Young and Kelsey Ballerini, and it kind of gives you this feeling of like, oh, we're in this.
Well, yeah, that was
Made it real for you.
some of our first taste, and CRS this year as well. But last year, I think that was some of our first taste of like, I passed Florida Georgia Line in the hallway and said, "What's up?" And
Yeah.
it becomes less like I'm on this side of the fence, you're on this side of the fence. But now we are becoming artists, and we are finding the things that we want to say and sound like, and you know what I mean? Like people are helping us establish ourselves as artists, and so that was a huge moment for us.
Yep. So, you know, everybody has their people that influence them. I know you've mentioned, you know, now that you've passed people in the hallway and everything. Do you still have those certain people that if you met them that you would fangirl or fanboy all over them?
Absolutely.
It's getting a little bit better than it used to, as far as like I had no chill at all whenever I first
Right.
moved here. You would now sometimes when you see someone you admire, I think like, okay, I don't want to interrupt them in their lives, but maybe there'll be another time. It gives you kind of like a piece of knowing, like, I don't have to go get a picture now because hopefully one day our paths will cross.
Like Jake Owen was on my plane on the way to Los Angeles, and I didn't jump into his arms because I just hope that my life will lead me to a place where I see him again. But there are definitely some people that, I mean, people talk all day long about how Taylor Swift, since she was 13 years old, sucked the air out of the room. She was just this star, and I just feel like I would not be able to make myself be cool if it was somebody like that. Garth Brooks, Taylor Swift, some of these people that just make you feel like you're the only person in the room. Then it's like, how can I treat that person like we're just friends?
Well, last year we shared a stage with Sam Hunt at the Country Festival. And he went on literally right before us, so we were just hanging out in the green room, and I kept dropping the same sheet of paper over and over again. It's like, be cool. Like, quit.
I walked up to him and started treating him like we had a handshake, and then he just kind of followed it along, but there was like a couple of hand movements and a hug, and it was just be normal.
I think that we freak out about every artist just because you see like how hard it is to get where they are.
Very true.
Like, I just want to get advice. If I could ever finally get to where I was their friend, I'd just be like, do you have anything that you want to pass, like, impart your wisdom to me? It's working for you. Jeez.
I think you guys are doing a good job just the way you are.
Thank you.
Well, it's always fun to talk to you guys. I'm glad we had this time together today.
Thank you.
It's like family time when we get together. It's all hugs. I love you guys. So it's been fun watching you grow since our showcase. And
oh, wow.
You
that
know.
was our very first show in Nashville.
I know. We were honored to do that.
It was a
Yeah.
big night for us.
Yeah.
So thank
Well,
you.
we're going to start them up
Watch
again.
this.
So
That's
we'll be
great.
having you back, I'm sure.
Awesome.
Well, thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
All right.